my arm, okay?
Okay.
Michael?
Do you know what day it is? What day is it?
December 23rd, 1985.
Say hi to Izzy.
Hello, Izzy. I love you. Hello, darling.
Okay.
December 24th, 1985.
What's your date of birth?
I'm at my son's and my daughter-in-law house in Hayward, California. And Joey is the boss here. I was born Carolina Hamel, August 28, 1924, Krakow, Poland. And I stayed in Krakow till the war broke out. Then I went through the war and I was liberated in May 1945. From my liberation place, Theresienstadt, I went to Prague. And from Prague, I went to Germany. I came to Germany in 1945, November. There I met my husband, Abraham Jacobowitz, actually. In 6 weeks, we were married. We were married because everybody else was getting married. People were alone and they were lonely, and it was the only way that they wanted to be together. They didn't want to be alone. In Germany, in 1948, December, I had my son. I married in 1946, I said so, right? In 1946, in December, 1948, my son, Joel Hillel Jacobowitz, was born. We stayed there till 1950, and we came to America. We had, with Joel, his name became Joel Jacobowitz. We changed our name from Jacobowitz to Jacobowitz. In 1952, my son Michael was born in January 20. Then in 1954, I had my daughter, and I raised them, the 3 children. They were beautiful, bright, brilliant children. Then they one by one started to leave the house. They went to colleges, they moved out, and I stayed with my husband, A.B., and we had all intentions to moving out to Florida. And meanwhile, A.B. took sick. He had heart surgery, and everything went fine. The operation was successful. He came home. I was sure that everything is okay, he'll be fine. And he developed cancer, and in January he died.
So what was your father's name?
My father's name was Moses Hamel. My mother's name was Helena Feldstein. And my father is coming from highly educated, very bright family. He had four sisters and 1 brother. My mother was Helena Feldstein, born Feldstein. She had 10 sisters and brothers. And my parents went, and I have brother. I have a brother, and I have a sister. My brother was the youngest. He was alive after the war, and after the war he became sick on typhus. Typhoid.
What was his name?
Ziggy. His name was Ziggy. Zygmunt. He died of typhus, and my parents, they were killed during the war.
Your sister's name?
My sister's name is Nina. And she lives in Florida, and she has 1 son and 2 grandchildren.
What kind of work did your father do?
My father worked in a place that they toasted coffee, you know, and it's a very good job. He was captain in the Austrian army by Kaiser Franz Josef. It was his big, thing I always was bragging about. He was captain, and Kaiser Franz Joseph Army. And
So you have a middle-class existence in Poland?
middle class, yeah. You want me to tell you about that family?
Well, first you tell us about your father's father.
My father's father his name was Wolf Hammer.
Where did he live?
He lived in Bielsko, Poland, and they had 4 sisters and 2 brothers, yeah. And my father's mother name was Emily. I don't know her maiden name. I didn't see them that often because they live far away from Krakow. But now my aunt, my father's sister, she lives in Holland, in Israel, and I went there and I saw her. She's 82 years old, but very, very beautiful lady, bright, alert, very alert lady. And he had 4 sisters, 3 died during the war. One is in Holland, and a brother. He was in Italy. You know Uncle Joseph, right? Uncle Joseph, Michael.
From Italy?
Yeah, from Italy.
He just died recently?
He just died recently.
That was Daddy's...
That was my father's sisters and brothers.
He helped you during the war, didn't he?
He helped me during the war, yes.
How did he help you?
How he helped me. When I was we were in ghetto, we were working in a big, like a factory, and once the head of the factory, were maybe thousands of women working there, called us to the office. We didn't know what's happened. So he said that we have letter from Yugoslavia, and to get letter from Yugoslavia at that time was like somebody would get a letter from Mars. Was just unbelievable, like from other side of midnight, people that they alive.
Do you know what year it was?
That was in 1942.
Okay.
It's just like somebody would bring, message from life to the to the dead people, and he sent his pictures, he wrote perfect German, and that and he translated to us what he wrote to us. He was looking for us, what's happened to us. And thank God to this letter, he was always helping us, that they weren't selecting us for actions. So we stay alive through a couple of, for a year without being taken away to gas chamber. He helped us a lot.
When you say actions, you mean someone taking you to the gas chamber?
Somebody taking us to gas chamber, yeah.
Now, you fought... Oh, sorry.
What?
Whatever.
And my husband, Abby's father,
well, let's stick to your side. Do you know who your great-grandfather was at all?
No.
Do you know who on the other side? Do you know where your family originally came from? Where any of them originally came?
They came from from Bielsko. My father's family came.
Well, where did the Jewish population from Bielsko usually come from? From Spain? From?
I cannot tell you.
That you didn't
But it was, talking about the family history, how it started.
What kind of house did you live in Poland?
There was tenant. There was maybe 40 apartments in our building. I live in Krakow, in Poland, and there were 40 people, maybe families living in my mother, she came. I told already, no. There were 10 children in her family. I said already. And her name was Helena Feldstein. What else do you have to tell you, Michael?
Well, what grade of school did you graduate from?
I graduated from 7th grades, elementary school, and I didn't go any higher because it was not like here that kids could go to with education. They have to go and make a living, earn money, work.
So what kind of work?
Majority. I will help, with the dressmaker. I'll just finish with the dressmaking.
How much did you used to get paid?
How much I pay? Maybe $5 a month. five zlotys a month.
And how much
I
was...
worked till the war broke out. I was young girl. I didn't work that long.
How old were you when the war broke out?
I was 14.
14?
15 years old I was when the war broke out.
And how old was Nina?
Nina is 3 years older.
So, and how old, I'm sorry, could you tell us a little bit about Daddy's family?
Daddy's family, yes. There was 7 children in his house. I think there were 5 boys and 2 girls. And he lost his first mother, real mother, when he was youngster. He was maybe 6 months old. And his father married his mother's sister. And after he started to grow up, he was very resentful because he always thought that that the sister took away his mother. That the mother died because the sister took her place. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, well, how
He was
old?
very resentful. He was running away from home. He was always rebelling. That was very rebellious. Okay.
How old was Daddy when
His mother died.
Yeah.
He was 6 months old.
6 months?
Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did Daddy
There's
have?
7 children. They were in his house.
And where was Daddy? Was he the first, the second?
He was the first. He was first because then the father married and he had 6 more children.
And what was Daddy's father's name?
Hillel. His father's name was Hillel, and his mother's name was Malka. And they were cousins because her name was Malka Jacobowitz, and he was Jacobowitz. They were cousins when they married.
And what kind of work did Daddy's father do?
They were trading ships. Ship trader, a big ship trader. So,
And what did his mother work?
nah, women didn't work in Poland.
What was his mother's maiden name?
I told you, she was Jacobowicz.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Malka Jacobowicz.
And you know
And he married second his mother, Rosa Jacobowicz. That's what I named Razin after. Because he was sorry what was he doing to the poor stepmother, that when he had a daughter, he remarried her after his mother, stepmother.
He felt very bad.
He grew up already, he understood what he did, especially when he had his own children. He made so much trouble, heartaches. And what else you want me to tell you?
Do you know Daddy's grandparents' name?
No.
Do you know, what town did you say Daddy lives in?
Dąbie, this is a little town by Lodz, not far from Lodz.
Well, how did you meet Daddy? You said you met him right after the war. Do you want to tell the
I
story?
met him in Germany. I told you there was a storm snow when they came up to my house. My sister brought him up, Nina.
How did Nina meet him?
Nina met him. Oh, that was so funny. She went to buy salt, and she was in the marketplace. There was snow, so much, it was bitter cold. She looked for the store. He's, going to the store, and here walks a good-looking guy with leather jacket, with boots on. He was very good-looking, and he's looking, and she comes to him, and she asks him in German, in Hebrew, if he's Jew, actually. So he said, yes, what are you doing here? I'm looking for my brother. Tell the brother name. She said, I know, I take you over there to him. So then she said to him, before I take you to your brother, you have to come upstairs to my house because I have a beautiful sister. I want you to meet my sister, meaning me. I was a beautiful sister. And we were going together, and then I wanted to go to Munich because my friend went to a school over there. And I said, I'm going to go to München. And he said, don't go to München. It's very cold outside. Let's get married tomorrow. So I said, maybe it's better idea to get married than go to school. Let's get married. That's how everybody was getting married, Michael. There was no, people didn't know what they did.
Just for the camera's sake, when Daddy told the story, he told it that you asked him.
Okay, I ask him what's the difference. Yes, I ask him maybe. I don't remember.
It doesn't
Ask
matter.
him.
I'm just
It's just for the camera sake.
for the camera.
Don't be funny, Michael.
So, you want to tell us how you came to the United States?
How we came to United States? We came through the DP program.
What's the DP program?
Displaced people, persons.
Uh-huh.
There was a quota, and they started to bring people over, and then we were waiting, and in 1950 we came.
Were you rich when you came?
No,
What kind of money did you have when you came?
well, we had a couple of $100. I was rich at that time because when Dad went to work, he was making $32 a week. Okay, so there was a lot of money.
And how did you bring the money into the country?
We didn't hide that terrible bed. Nobody, they were not looking.
What did you
customs.
hide?
Hmm?
What did you hide?
Well, I think that he hid in his shoe.
Did you hide some on Hillel?
Hmm? No, not his shoe. Not his shoe. That tight, not his shoe. Well, should I tell you about my life now?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Okay, after Dad died, naturally I stay alone. And I was very lucky and fortunate. I met a very nice guy, and his name is Izzy Schoenwirth. We married. I married him, and thank God have a very good life with him. He's very good to me. We both together, we are very happy, very happy.
Let me just ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah.
If there's one thing in your life you could change, what would you change?
Well, that changed my life. I don't want to think so fast and give you a very fast answer, because then I might be sorry, okay?
You don't have to answer if you don't want.
I will not answer, because I'll be sorry when I answer, okay?
Okay.
And I don't want you to have it on the tape. I don't answer.
Okay. Well, what's the happiest thing that ever happened to you?
My children, when they were small, they were young, they were pain in the neck.
What about your grandchildren?
My grandchildren. My grandchildren. This is some beautiful thing to have grandchildren.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say to someone who sees you on a tape in 20 years, and what's the last
I
thing you
have
want?
very good moment now, and that what comes. I enjoy every minute of my life. Every day I'm thankful, and I love it, and I'm very thankful. Okay. What else could I tell you, Michael?
Why don't you cut it?
Married to Janice, formerly Janice Brenner. Right now living in Clifton Park, New York. Just taking it easy this summer, which I think is a well-deserved rest after an ordeal of 39 years.
What date is today?
Today, good question, July what? What is it?
21st?
21st. Goes to show you what kind of rest I'm taking. I don't
Is there a
even know.
year?
86, isn't it? Although I do remember one time going through the supermarket and writing a check out and asking what the date was, and the woman told me, and I said, no, I mean the year. What year is it? So I tend to forget these things on occasion.
Okay, you have any kids?
Kids, sure. Deborah, 8. Mark, 5. Going on 6. My goodness, how time flies.
Did you tell us your birthday?
My birthday, March 15th, 1947.
Yeah, and who are your parents?
Well, my father is Irving, formerly Meissen Gieser. Here's a mouthful for you.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, Nina Hamel, both born in Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And this past last summer, a year ago, I went over to Germany where I was born. Interesting visit, trying to retrace a little bit of history there. After the war, parents wound up in a little town east of Munich called Traunstein. Both my mother and Michael's mother were there, and then my father wound up there as well, and Well, I guess I was there for 4.5 years before coming over.
You were born in Traunstein?
Traunstein, yep.
Where'd you go to after you came over?
Well, went to New York City, wound up living in the Bronx, next door to you, Michael, on Vise Avenue. Stayed there for a few years, moved on to Newark. But some memories of living in the Bronx, interesting memories, mostly with your older brother, Hillel, Joel, and Jackie Ehrlichman, who I haven't heard from in quite a while, but that was, I guess, the core group. Every summer go up to the Catskills and spend the summer there. Some fond memories of that. Then when Michael came around, when you were born, I remember Joel coming over to stay with us for a while. And then when your sister Rosie was born, both Michael and Joel coming over, waiting for Rosie to be born. And well, that was pretty interesting, growing up down there. But moved on to Newark, New Jersey. Stayed there for a few years, moved on to another place in Newark for a few more years. Finally, by the time I got into high school, went to Union, New Jersey, graduated there in '64, and went on to college, worked a little bit in the city. After enough of that, I decided to head west, head for the Rockies, and went on to the University of Colorado at Boulder.
Were you married by then?
Got married just before then.
How'd you meet Janice?
Well, through a friend who, I guess, mutual friend, named Paula Eisenbond, and she introduced us. Paul and I were friends from way back, and
She introduced you with you getting married in mind?
No, nothing of that sort. They were just friends, and I met them, and just went out for a number of years. Went to Israel, '68 for the summer, and came back and started going out after that for a few years. Finished school, went on for my MBA, worked a little more, got married, my MBA at the same time, and went out west to Colorado. Stayed there for 4 years, 4 nice years. Went there.
What'd you do? You skied?
Well, went there, planned on going there for 2 years, and wound up staying for 4 years, skiing, camping, fishing, all that good stuff. And first year there, we got a little Samoyed pup called Kashmir. He gave us 11 nice years, great dog, and he passed away a couple of years ago, and we got another dog since then, Golden Retriever, Penny. So she's a couple of years old now.
Okay, when you stopped skiing in Colorado, what did you do?
For the PhD, you mean?
Well, you got a PhD in Colorado?
Yeah, I went to the school there, and
What was your PhD in?
got my doctorate in business administration, majoring in administrative policy. And from there, went on to University of Virginia for a couple of years.
What'd you do there?
Well, I taught in the School of Commerce for a couple of years. And then went on to Washington, D.C., worked at NASA for a year under a fellowship.
Were you the guy who blew up the plane? The shuttle?
Well, let's just say that it wasn't a surprise when it happened. There was a lot of stuff going on back then that...
Oh, really? Well, this is not an expose, so don't go into it, unless you want to.
Well, a lot of the problems were pretty imminent, I would think. Oh, Deborah's going to come and join us, I think. Want to come out, Deb? Okay, here's Deborah. Deborah, speaking of Virginia, maybe the best thing that happened before going to Washington was Deborah was born. Charlottesville, Virginia. Come here, Deb. And this is my super kid, Deborah. She spent a year at Washington, first year as an infant there. Right, Deb? I suppose you don't remember too much, but her first birthday was spent there in Falls Church, Virginia. And we went to down to Washington a lot of times and went to museums and all that. But then we moved up to Clifton Park, New York. We've been here for 7 years now.
Did you move up to collect food stamps?
Well, we're at the I work at the State University of New York at Albany, School of Business. Just got tenure last year, promoted to associate professor. Keeping busy, doing all these things you're supposed to be doing as a professor, I suppose. Deborah, you going to join us again?
What's your proudest achievement?
At the university?
In life.
In life? Well, I don't know. That's hard to say.
Isn't it?
Sure, because you've got professional achievements, you've got family achievements, and you've got just kind of your personal achievements. Which level do you want to discuss?
Let's go back to something else if that's hard for you to discuss. How about tell me more about your mom?
Okay. How far back?
How far back you want to go? Tell me some stories about your mom and my mom.
I don't really know any stories of them together. The memories are basically very little in Traunstein because your mom had left just after I was born. But
Am I about to lose a child over there?
no, but we're about to meet Penny over here. They were living together in the Bronx and next door, not together, but same neighborhood. Right, Penny. And spent the summers together up in the Catskills, different places in the Catskills.
Did your mother used to tell stories about before the war with my mom?
Not before the war, just a lot of stuff during the war, how they had their narrow escapes, just a number of horror stories, close calls.
You want to tell some of those stories? And what sticks in your head?
Sit. Oh, one where they were hiding somewhere, up in an attic somewhere with someone else, some other women, and soldiers came and looking for them. They were told no one was around, so they fired up into the attic, and bullets wasn't all around. Finally left. Fortunately, neither of our moms, were injured. So. I think it happened during the war, but they weren't in the camp then, and just trying to eke out some livelihood, I suppose, while in camp, pretty much.
Do you know your mom's mother's name?
No.
Your mom's father's name?
Well, I think father was Michael, wasn't it?
I don't know. I have it on my mom's tape. I'd have to show you that sometime.
I think you were named after the brother, I guess, was Michael. Maybe that was the brother was Michael.
It was, I can't remember, Ziggy.
The brother?
Yeah.
Then I guess the father was Michael.
Yeah.
But I don't remember, I don't know about any of that.
Your mother tell you any other stories about the war?
Not really that much about the war. Just the basic stuff. Trying to go from camp to camp or whatever.
Did your dad tell you anything about the war or before the war?
Oh, some stories before the war. Not really that many. Just the odds and ends kinds of jobs he had in Poland. It's kind of rough in Poland being Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a variety of different jobs. During the war, they had formed two groups of people coming in, and it was obvious that one group was going to be killed and the other group was going to live. And they asked people if anyone in the crowd was a shoe repairman, and he volunteered. Well, the first shoe he nailed wound up having nails coming up through the feet of the soldier.
It was just a survival thing.
Sure, many of those survival things. Stories about. Yeah, you can. Many stories about rummaging through the trash for food and living on one bowl of soup a day and that sort of thing. Few people that made it through the war.
Got very little battery left. What's the one thing you want to say to yourself when you see this tape in 10 years?
Oh, I don't have really any one thing. I'm pretty content with myself.
I didn't ask you if you were content.
Well, I think it's an important thing to know, though, isn't it? That.
So you want to tell yourself you're content with your life?
Sure, I'm satisfied the way things have worked out. Unplanned, but worked out. Couldn't have worked any better. I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. Pretty happy the way things worked out. And if I had to do it over again, probably wouldn't change a thing.
Sounds wonderful.